People are so blinkered in what they see and know, and they hate anything that is change and different. But Elon Musk and Mark Cuban spotted this early on. I have an open enough mind that I even own Doge. And the reason being is, simply put, if the world is network effects, you've got a lot of retail owners, but there's no network because we're not being used. Elon made that pretty clear that actually this is a pretty interesting thing, because anything that's kind of memey can have money because people attach a value to it and they enjoy using it. And it's not like Bitcoin that you just lock it away. As investors, we need to be careful of that bias. So I don't know. So some very smart people that I know say, listen, Polkadot is a really serious project. People are so blinkered in what they see and know, and they hate anything that is change and different. But Elon Musk and Mark Cuban spotted this early on. It's like, okay, people want to trade this because they feel an affinity to this, and it's kind of speculative, but it was a joke, kind of like GameStop was as well. But people started making money and it attracted other people. Suddenly, you had a cryptocurrency worth $40 billion with millions of investors. Well, that's one half of a network. All you have to do is create use cases. So Elon made that pretty clear that actually this is a pretty interesting thing, because anything that's kind of memey can have money because people attach a value to it and they enjoy using it. And it's not like Bitcoin that you just lock it away. It actually feels like it's a transactional currency. Mark Cuban said the same thing. He started accepting his payments, and now they've kind of got the gang back together and they're going to try and build this out into a meaningful cryptocurrency. And you know what? It's got a decent probability just because of how many people like it. The Mavs probably own a lot more Doge just because, they'll get paid. Now, not that many people are going to do it. Yes, it's part marketing gimmick, but the points that he made in his Twitter feed are correct. And don't forget, the reason he owned so little Doge is because he did it for his son, because his son wanted to buy it. So that's why he's done that, which will be a percentage of his son's net worth kind of thing. So my guess is he still takes it seriously because he wants to see, okay, how does his son think about this? What does this mean to him? So I get it. The space is because you're rewarded to be tribal and back the only one true thing, true asset. As investors, we need to be careful of that bias. So I don't know. So some very smart people that I know say, listen, Polkadot is a really serious project, and this could do this, ALTCOIN, or there's a bunch of things that people say, listen, you don't really understand the use case yet. And probably in 3 years' time, we'll be talking more about it. So I kind of say, yeah, okay, I'll keep an open mind. I have an open enough mind that I even own Doge. And the reason being is, simply put, if the world is network effects, you've got a lot of retail owners, but there's no network because we're not being used. But then you've got Elon Musk telling you, hey, I want to build on this. Why? Well, because he's got all these users, right? He can now raise infinite capital if he becomes, the core side, the other side of the network equation. Mark Cuban started accepting Doge because he realized it's a social thing. People know it's kind of fun, but it also has worked. So he started accepting at Dallas Mavs for ticket sales and merch and stuff like that. So now you might end up building a network. So again, I keep an open mind to all of this. People are too quick to say, this is never going to make it. Like Cardano, right? There's a huge fight in the community, Cardano and its smart contracts. And, is it going to amount to anything? Is it going to amount to nothing? I don't know. Network effect generally needs two parts. It's not just people buying it. It needs to have application developments. It needs to be an ecosystem. Right? This has one side of the ecosystem. It has a lot of people owning it.
Right.
Okay, well, that's very powerful. As you rightly say, if you can be the other side of that, meaning not the guy who owns these coins, sure, those guys might be doing something, but can you apply this community to something else now? That's really interesting. A reverse takeover chain? Maybe. And this is this weird new world we're walking into. It's not a world of one money. It's a world of multiple monies for different use cases. I mean, it's hard to get our heads around. We don't know where it's all going, but it's not going where we all think it's going. It'll go somewhere wildly different.
I don't know. So I will amuse myself by watching it, but I will not pass comment on it because I don't know. Because too many things are changing, too many economic models are being completely rewritten in front of our eyes, that anybody who thinks they understand what's going on is lying to themselves.
Yeah. I'm definitely a skeptic on Doge, but I have to say, this space in general...
And I'm a skeptic on Doge, but I'm not going to say I don't know what the hell it is. Yeah. So I'm just skeptical in terms of, it's not for me. Do your own homework, kids. You understand that this is something that has in the usual construct no value, but maybe we're the chumps, and before you know it, Taylor Swift turns it into her community. I have no idea.
Well, we don't know. This is a grand experiment in either the madness of crowds or the smartness of crowds. I happen to believe community is smarter than anybody imagines because of the democratization of information we've now all had, that Real Vision's been at the forefront of, you've been at the forefront of. We've tried to democratize that information. So is the crowd dumb or is the crowd smart? Now, it may have started as a joke, because that's what humans like online. They like to have an in-joke and they like to be tribal. So maybe GameStop started as that, but what they've done is give GameStop an ability to reinvent itself. They've given them the money and the option. Whether they take it or not is a different matter. So everything in all investing is a probability game. There is a higher probability today that GameStop evolves into something else than there was 9 months ago. Simple as that.
And the speculative part of this cycle is now starting to really get underway.
Yeah.
And there will be a lot of FOMO, and I'm struggling with it myself. I mean, everything is going to go up, and it's going to go up, overusing the word, exponentially, and people are going to be shocked at what's about to happen, and people will make mistakes with their money. And, it's all well and good. There is a money-making opportunity in all of this. There really is. But just don't take risks you can't run because you think it's your one chance. It's not the one chance. There's a whole universe that's being built in front of us. You don't need to make it all in one trade. So take the risks you're comfortable with. Participate in the glory of a full speculative frenzy in the middle of an exponential rise of an asset class. It's a beautiful moment in time, but realize that speculation will run riot. There will be the downward counteracting move to that speculation, which is a bust, and then we'll start all over again.
People want to trade this because they feel an affinity to this, and it's kind of speculative, but it was a joke. If the world is network effects, you've got a lot of retail owners.
But anybody who thinks they understand what's going on is lying to themselves.
There is a higher probability today that GameStop evolves into something else than there was 9 months ago. Simple as that.